Okay, so let's go ahead and see if we can graph some log functions. So we already know the basic graph of a log function, so we're going to draw it out here. A log function is just the inverse of an exponential, so instead of a horizontal asymptote at the axis, it has a vertical asymptote at the axis. Instead of having a point at 1, 0, it has a point at 0, 1. Still goes to the left and follows the asymptote, and to the right it goes up, but it doesn't go up as steeply as it does in an exponential. It just kind of lightly goes up. So okay, so that is what a standard log function looks like. Let's go ahead, we're going to do this, and we're going to find the horizontal asymptote, the vertical asymptote, the domain, and the range. And two of them, without even shifting it, I should be able to know. Looking at this function, I don't have a horizontal asymptote, so I'm going to write none, because even if I move this, I'm still not going to have a horizontal asymptote. My range, this is going from negative infinity, keeps going all the way down, all the way up to positive infinity. So slowly going up, but it gets there. So my range, even if I shift this and move this, is still going to be negative infinity to infinity. Now how does this move? Well, the negative here is going to make it flip over the x. This plus 7 is inside the function. My plus 7 is inside. So it's going to make it move left 7. So let's see, I'm going to first flip this over the x. If I flip this over the x, my horizontal asymptote would look the same. If I flip a line, this horizontal line, that's a vertical line over the x, it's still going to look like a vertical line going there. If I flip this over the x, this point is on the x-axis, so that point is going to still be the same. It's still going to be at 0, 1. 1, 0, sorry, 1, 0. 1, 0. Okay, so if I flip this part though over the x, this is now pointing up. So I'm going to draw going up toward the asymptote. If I flip this, the part going out to the right over the x, it is still going out to the right, it's just going out to the right underneath the x-axis. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so that's what my graph looks like when I flip it over the x. I also need to move it left 7, so I'm going to do that now. If I move that left 7, then my vertical asymptote would move left 7. That would affect the vertical asymptote. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to get a new vertical asymptote left 7. This point is also going to move left 7. So it's going to move 1 to 0. So 0. So it was here. I'm going to move it 1 to 0, then to negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. So it's now at negative 6 because it went left 7. Then I'm just going to redraw my graph. To the left, it's going to follow the asymptote. To the right, it's going to go down. Okay, so my vertical asymptote is at negative 7. It's vertical, so it's going to be x equals. And my domain, it does not hit all my x's. It starts at negative 7. But it does go all the way to the positives, so up to infinity. So it starts at negative 7, but then it does continue going all the way to the positives. So that's what the graph of this would look like.